Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Now you can see here we have installed some visual mods, as you can see by how beautiful Kerbin is looking. Now I'm going to hand you over to Future Top Hat to explain the mods that we have installed. Waterfall, Planet Shine, Shabby, Restock, Textures Unlimited, Parallax 2, Better Time Warp, Scatterer, Sci-Fi Visual Enhancements, and Distant Object Enhancements. Thank you, Future Top Hat. Now we are going to start a game. Now, I may or may not have done a little bit of an oopsie daisies, and while clearing out some of the saved games, may or may not have misclicked and deleted our career mode. But that's alright, because I wanted to start a new science mode as Top Hat Aerospace. Now, science mode is a bit different from career mode in that you only get science instead of having to purchase things. So you don't actually have to upgrade buildings, which I find a lot better, and I like that. Now you can see the Parallax mod working its magic here with adding all this foliage, adding all the trees in the background. You can see the volumetric clouds mod that we have installed, and it just makes everything look so much nicer. Now before we launch, we're going to... What did I just click? Oh, I clicked remove some symmetry. Oopsies. Let's observe the mystery goo in that. And you can tell Waterfall restocks, it actually adds some nice little goo there, which is very cool. And let's launch. And let's try and get a bit more over the ocean here. Almost forgot to turn on SAS. Oops. Because if we are like this, you can see the clouds as we go through them, and it adds so much to the game, quite frankly. I feel like adding clouds just makes everything so much nicer. So let's observe this mystery goo. Keep experiment. And we will collect some more mystery goo data while in the ocean, actually. I would consider that a very successful launch. We collected our science, and for a first launch, there's not really much deviation from this. This is pretty standard, to be honest. We had 3 mystery goo containers, and we're going to collect some more science as soon as we land in the ocean, which will be very nice for our space agency. Coming in here for our first landing. There we go. And observe mystery goo. Water for science. Cover vessel. And that is our first successful mission, giving us almost 23 science. Now we are going to be attempting to do the entire tech tree, so let's get basic rocketry as well as engineering. So now we have another science experiment that we can use. Alright, launch 2. Now at this launch we will maybe get out of the atmosphere, we'll see. The Launch 2 rocket was a rocket that had 2 stages. The first stage was a dry rocket fuel booster, which you can see here. And the next stage is our first liquid fuel engine that you can see in just a moment once we decouple. You can see the clouds look absolutely stunning in this, and here you can see the Waterfall engines mod really just working its magic with these beautiful liquid fuel thrusters. So we see here we collect some science within the upper atmospheres of Kerbin, which will be very handy for our space agency. And I'm not actually sure how high we got up with this mission, but yeah, we start re-entering the atmosphere now. And you can see our burn. Now, this is pretty cool. I really like, you know, the looks of that sort of stuff in this game. Now you can see our parachute deploying, and we are currently going down for a landing where we kind of stop here and we just enjoy the beauty of the Parallax mod. So let's quickly just EVA, and we can do an EVA report from here, because I'm pretty sure it'll be slightly different. Alright, 62 science from that. Jesus Christ! Jesus! I think I can get all 3 of these with that. 20, 18, 15, and we have leftover. Dude, that's crazy! The Launch 3 rocket was the first rocket in this series designed to get us into orbit. It featured 2 large solid fuel boosters, a Reliant liquid fuel engine, and a Swivel liquid fuel engine. And we were hoping that this would get us into orbit. So you can see here our first stage deploying and the Reliant liquid fuel engine coming out as we extend our orbit outwards. And you can see here us planning the maneuver. 3, 2, 1... go. And here you can see us doing our burn to get to orbit. And that should be orbit. No, okay, we've got to burn a bit more prograde. Let me just. There we go. 72. Yep, that's orbit, and that is a pretty stable orbit as well. That's what, 5 kilometers distance between them. That's pretty stable. After getting into orbit, we then continue on and collect all of our science that we needed. After collecting our science, we then get this. We then warp around here and get this absolutely beautiful flyby shot of Kerbin. Just look how stunning the mods look. And after doing this, we then point retrograde and start our re-entry burn. And we try to keep it nice and level. And you can see here decoupling to our last and final stage. That'll get us into the atmosphere. And right about now you can start seeing the superheated plasma forming around the heat shield and our vessel. And this is quite a long one actually. That is actually caused by the air molecules pretty much getting really tight and very energized, and then they start, bouncing around and forming a superheated plasma. Alright, I'm getting there. Nearly slow enough now for the chutes to deploy, and there we go. After the chutes deployed, we then had a very nice, soft, and controlled landing all the way down on Kerbin's surface. I mean, we've got the nice flower, oh my god, it's so pretty. It's just so pretty. Oh, I love this game. 29 science, that's good. With Launch 4, we collected science from all of the layers of Kerbin's atmosphere with the press map barometer, which we didn't realize that we had until now. It was a pretty boring launch, so I sped through all of it. 66, that is a lot of science. Let's just scan off flying at Kerbin, in space near Kerbin. Kerbin's upper atmosphere, why did we get 0 from that? So orbital flight. Got less than I was expecting actually, but still quite a lot, and enough to get us the Science Junior. With Launch 5, we attempted to collect science with our brand new Science Junior, and we attempted to get into orbit with it. Now, we also got some very wonderful glamour shots of our rocket going up, and you can see that this rocket is pretty much the exact same as the ones that we used in the previous launches, but now we have a Science Junior instead of all of the other pieces of science and equipment that we had before. And we burn. And now we've started our burn to circularize around Kerbin. Now this will hopefully get us into orbit, but you can see that we actually run out of fuel and it doesn't actually quite get us into orbit. And now this is our first EVA on the channel, with us collecting science with Bill Kerman, resetting the Science Junior to allow us to get way more science in space. Yeah, pretty much, we are in space. And so this, I feel, was pretty cool. I really like EVAing in this game. It's a very awesome feature. And so now you can see us speed through here, doing some more EVAs for more science. And we just continue on like this until we get pretty low, where we detach the rest of the rocket, and leaving us with just the Science Junior and our capsule. So the reason we do this is so that we can collect some science from the lower parts of Kerbin's atmosphere, like you will see in just a minute. And you can see here it's already heating up before we even get into some of the lower stages. So we just get it low enough into the second to last stage of the atmosphere, and we transport that science into the storage container that we have. And you can see here, we then jettison it, and it flies past us, nearly hitting us, which would have been not so good for this mission. But once that's gone, the heat shield can take the brunt of the re-entry heat, which means that everything is fine, and we managed to land perfectly successfully and unharmed with our main chute completely deployed, and all of our science intact. Oh, that's so good. Alright, we got, yeah, pretty much bit more than 50 science from that. Yeah, advanced rocketry looks good to do that. And then we have access to all of these. Launch 6 was a mission all the way to the MUN. Now, our goal was to orbit the MUN, not land on it, as landing on it would require way more Delta V. And now, while we're just getting out of the atmosphere and whatnot, I just want to say thank you all so much for the amazing comments that you all left on the last video. I really appreciate it. It was very nice of all of you to leave those amazing comments. And I hope that all of you that commented on that video are here now. One of you guys said that I'm the next Matt Lown, which I really appreciate. It's very nice. It's a bit far-fetched though, I feel. Matt Lown, if you don't know, is an amazing creator that I very much look up to. If you haven't seen one of his videos, definitely go check it out. And we have reached Kerbin orbit now, and we are planning our maneuver node to the MUN to get us an orbit. And this should be very cool. If you've made it this far into the video is almost nearly done. I mean, we have to still land back on Kerbin after we orbit the MUN. But after that, I mean, you know, why haven't you subscribed yet? The video's almost over. You've watched all the way through. If you would consider subscribing, that would be amazing. Now, you can see us doing our burn to get over to the MUN. It's quite a slow burn. Oh, and here we are with our encounter. It's not the slowest burn because we do have the Terrier engine. And there we are. We have made it to our encounter with the MUN. And so now at this point, actually, I just realized we get into time warp pretty much by mistake, and we get a bit confused. And here we start doing our science high over the MUN. So the optimal way of doing it is just doing heaps of science high over the MUN, getting into orbit, and then doing some science low to the MUN. So here you can start seeing that we are going down to get into orbit with the MUN. We try doing some more science, but it just says high over the MUN, so we skip it, and we keep going down. And here we get our orbit, which is absolutely amazing. And you can see we get some nice beautiful shots of the MUN, and it looks absolutely amazing. It looks stunning visually. And now we collect some more science while over the MUN, and we get, I believe, 75 science from just this one. I believe high over the MUN was 50, and now we just keep collecting all of that science as we go. And now we're going to warp over here, and the proper way to get out of, so here we are actually burning to escape the MUN, and the optimum way of doing this is burning pretty much away from where the MUN is heading towards, and so this way you lose as much speed as possible. And here we get our Kerbin encounter, And pretty much we ditch everything. Well, actually, we do some more science high over Kerbin first. And now at this point, we ditch everything and we point retrograde and hope for the best, quite frankly, because I wasn't entirely sure if we'd be able to land. The angle that we're coming in at is pretty steep. I mean, you can see that flare. That is... yeah, that's quite a lot of heat, and the heat shield almost burnt up, actually, and the storage container as well. Both of those almost burnt up while we were lowering ourselves into the atmosphere. But after that, everything was pretty much fine. You can see here we're getting to the second last atmosphere layer of the atmosphere. There we go. And you can see here our clouds are now visible, and there goes the flare, and there goes our chutes deploying, which I didn't actually expect them to deploy yet. At that point, that was a bit of a shock to me. Because of how fast we were going, I thought they would have ripped if they deployed then, but they were perfectly fine, and we went down for a successful landing and recovery of all of that science. So I'm incredibly happy about that, and you can see here we're landing in the desert, which... that's pretty sweet, pretty cool, pretty nifty. Yeah, and here is our landing all the way from the MUN. Oh my god, that's a lot of science! We got 300 science from that one mission. Let's freaking go, dude! Alright, let's see, what can I even get with that? Let's go space exploration. And then processing lab. Yeah, I think we're gonna go for electrics. And the processing lab. Sweet. Alright, well, I think that ends today's video. I hope you all had a fantastic time watching and enjoyed yourselves. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and goodbye.